Cock 45. Ouch. You get a bowling pin. Yes, Hickok 45, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Tennessee, the home of Alvin York, Caleb Plant, Jeff Quinn, all kinds of cool people, and lots of other famous people. Davy Crockett, you know, we could make a long list, and I've covered a lot of them over the years, right? So welcome to the compound. Glad you're here in the dead of winter. I see why they call it the dead of winter, because it's pretty dead around here, isn't it? Not really dead, just looks dead, because it comes out every spring. It's been my experience for a lot of years now. So I'm glad you stopped by and you're hanging out in the cold woods with me while I shoot something that I was in the mood to shoot. Silenced, yes, the old banished suppressor from 30. This is a 30 Gold from silencercentral.com, and it just works beautifully on my 300 Blackout. That's what I'm firing. If you put something like this on an AR-15, it suppresses it a fair amount. I mean, compared with what it would be without the suppressor, right? But you know, you can't. Unless you're shooting subsonic 5.56, you can't do a lot with it, but you can quiet down a little bit. Cool thing about 300 Blackout, if you're new to firearms, is it was kind of designed for this in a lot of ways. It's a 30 caliber bullet and a cartridge, kind of a small cartridge, and with heavy bullets like 220 grain lessons again this week. But if something is subsonic and you suppress it, it gets pretty quiet. Yeah. So that's what we're playing. I was in the mood to do it, and you know, it's funny, I've been thinking about getting it out, and there was a comment I saw today. Someone left a comment on something and said, why don't you get out the 300 Blackout again? I said, yeah, bingo, been thinking about that. So I did. Then I've also got another firearm I wanted to test. I'm hand loading some 357 Magnum, some of my cast bullets, and so I've been messing around. You know, like I explained a week or two ago, I like to keep a firearm in the caliber chambering that I'm hand loading for, just to test the function, make sure the brass is sized right, you know, and it's chambering fine, okay, and then also that the load is what I want and it's consistent and it's, you know, what I thought it was, you know, because I took a long break from hand loading, so I don't want to end up loading a bunch of ammo that's not right. So I brought out, here's one of the firearms I used, a test firearm, the old Model 65. You're familiar with it. Many of you have been around a long time. You're very familiar with it now. I ground off the hammer, and it's one of my favorites. You know, it almost made the top cut, you know, on the last 357 Magnum I'd ever sell or give up, to sell. So yeah, speaking of that, I hope you saw the last bolt action rifle I'd ever sell, and that was tough. You could tell from the video probably that was tough. That was really like choosing amongst your children or something. Of course, people who don't have kids, of course I just have one, but maybe can't relate to that. You can probably come close. You got something that's hard to choose between. You like them all, you know, whatever it is, cars or baseball cards, I don't know what it is you collect or your hobby is. And it's a valid comment. I know people probably get tired of hearing folks say that. Oh, it's like choosing between your children. Well, it's a very good analogy, because everything is different. And and, you know, really it's kind of a malady, an illness around the internet in a lot of ways. You know, because think about all the energy that goes into comments about which is better. And as if somebody chooses, whether it's a you or me or whoever chooses this, that's better, or which one's better. Yeah, I know this got that, but which one's better? Which one? You know, everybody wants things to be black and white, and they're not. Things are different. Yeah, just like those bolt actions. I don't know which one's better, which one's best. Yeah, well, it depends on the day, depends on my mood almost. I could just as easily have chosen the Winchester Model 70, that classic thing, the Model 96 Swedish Mauser, you know, any one of them actually. It just depends on what your priorities are. Yeah, as I think I said in the video, it's what comes down to whether are you a hunter, you know, with bolt action rifles, let's say. Like if you're a hunter, are you a long range sharpshooter or something, you know, bench rest shooter, and if you aren't a hunter, where do you hunt? You walk out into areas that's pretty easily accessed. You're not banging around, climbing over rocks and into trees and stuff very often. You're not going to damage the rifle. And if it's really bad weather, you just don't go hunting. You know, if you're that kind of person, well, maybe the Seiko, a really nice wooden finish, is fine for you. Or maybe if you do really give a rifle a hard time, you still want a nice wood. And you consider those character marks if you scratch it up out there while you're hunting, and you have a memory associated with every scratch and every nick on that firearm. You know, so it all comes down to the individual. And then, you know, as I say, I've collected and shot so many different firearms, and I pretty much have a lot of firearms I don't want to give up. You know, and there's a reason for that. I like them, and so it's a really tough choice. So anyway, enough on that. I hope you saw that. And then the Springfield, I told you it'd be posting this week. Plinked a little bit more with it last Sunday before I sent it back to Buds. And so if you saw that, and my vintage Browning high power, those are really nice. They really are. But that new one is a really good shooter. And I realized that, saw a lot of comments that to the effect that FN is coming back out with the high power again. So interesting. Like, why not? Maybe they saw the excitement over Springfield's release, you know, over the last couple of months, and said, wow, people seem pretty excited about that. Wow, I wish we could make a high power. Oh yeah, we can. We did for it's a century or something almost. And so I guess they're going to crank up, or they already have. Not a lot of cranking up, I guess. They made it for so long. But that's cool. So anyway, that's kind of that. And before I forget too, I want to kind of miss SHOT. Didn't go to SHOT Show. We didn't go last year. It didn't happen. I guess it was virtual, wasn't it, last year? And in 2021. And so, you know, not knowing what's going on with the dreaded bug that everybody's hiding from, I didn't get reservations. A lot of it's motel reservations. A big thing like that, I like to stay right there in the hotel, preferably where it's being held. So I always make reservations a year in advance. And because I mean, it fills up like immediately for those and for the NRA meeting. So if you're planning on going, you better make those reservations well in advance if you want to be in a specific place, you know, close by, or in the hotel where it's held, the convention center. And so I didn't even make them for this year, not knowing what the bug was going to do and everything. And boy, I'm glad I did. And I understand they're having to wear masks and that entire complex. Because once you get into like the Venetian and the convention, all the center, I mean, you don't ever have to go outside. You're in there, you could be in there all day, unless you go out on the sidewalk to go to another casino or something, you know. So it's like having to wear a freaking mask on my place here, you know, 40 acres. It really is. You know, or in my house and outside, you know. Give me a break. Yeah, I'm finished with that. So anyway, I'm so glad. And I don't know if I will sign up or make reservations for next year for that reason. Who knows what new deadly variant will be popping up, you know, and so I don't know. We don't need to be there. We go as a kind of a luxury. It's kind of nice to see a lot of people in the industry. We don't really have much going on with people like in the industry, but we, you know, it's nice. It's a nice perk to go. I mean, we pay for it, but it's nice to go, you know, hang out with about 90,000 other gun nuts, you know, and see everybody who's in the industry, see their booths and what they've got and what they're doing. So kind of miss that, I guess. But anyway, we're not there this year. I don't know about next year. I'd like to go at least one more time, and just for old time, because John and I went for, I don't know what, 8 years in a row or something. And we stay at the Flamingo, and then we start staying at the Venetian. So we've got a real a tradition, you know. And I mean, you feel like you're at home. You've been at these places for like a week every year. You know your way around. And even though it's so far away, it's like your little hometown as far as familiarity. And it's different. It's pretty unique. So it's an interesting trip for a lot of reasons. But for those reasons, if it's not enjoyable, why go? Very, very expensive. So why go? Because the way we do it, we go out for 2 weeks. We travel, drive, and you know, see some sights. We always go to Tombstone or Monument Valley or somewhere. I went to Gunsight one year on the way. So we do some other touring around on the road. And that's it. Okay, can I shoot this 357 Magnum? Like I said, I am hand loading, doing some hand loading. And I've got some Federal Magnums there too I'm going to shoot. I'm going to fire. Now, I kind of do with what I do with 44 Magnum. My loads are moderate. They're Magnum, they're light Magnum, like you know, what would you call it? Yeah, just kind of a standby, just to go out and plink with. All right, and I've always done that. It's one reason I've never hand loaded 38 Special, because if I want some barn burners, you know, really hot stuff with 44, or with, you know, that too, but with 357 Magnum, I just get some factory loads. It's not very often that I'm going to go out and just plink with a lot of hot ammo in 44 or 357. It's just not a lot of fun. If I were a hunter, you know, or not, or either whatever, it's good to have some and know where it hits and shoot at some. And sometimes it's fun to just shoot an atomic load, you know, occasionally, but not hundreds of them or thousands of them, you know. And you know, so it's not that expensive to just have some. I've always done that. It's always, you know, buy a box, have a couple of boxes of factory ammo around. Plus you got the jacketed ammo, and you can help clean out some of your lead and all that. I've talked about it. I've got a video on that. Controversial topic. And you know, so I just hand load cast bullets, you know, when I hand load generally. And so that's what these are, just moderate Magnums. Yeah, comfortable to shoot. I've always been accurate, if I am. Yeah. So can I shoot this baby? Yeah. Am I recording? Are y'all there? Yeah. Okay. Should I cock the hammer? I guess not. Let's hit the cowboy. Do I have one left for the gong, or do I just start trying to hit the gong, see if I can do it? I got him on the last round, I think. Yeah. That's why this is such a nice little revolver. I mean, for those who don't know, you know, it's fixed sights. That's what you got. You got no adjustable sights, and no hammer to cock, and 3-inch barrel. It's the same as the FBI Model 13, except in stainless. Yeah, and except I ground the hammer off, right? But now that's what you got. Let me show you that barrel. Yeah, got the cylinder out. That bull barrel. It's got a big old thick barrel, and just a shootable gun. Yeah. Got a good action, and in double action you can hit stuff at long range. Again, this could be my only 357, you know, just like the other one. They're both great. So that's a nice load. Doesn't hurt your hand even when it's cold like this. Not too much, you know. So that's why I wanted to come out, and what I wanted to come out and shoot today. I was in the mood to shoot the 300 Blackout a few times, and then work on my loads, or you know, shoot them some. And again, remind me now, I want to make sure they're not jumping the crimp. Remember that physics lesson I gave y'all a couple of weeks ago? and don't think they are. I've been shooting them some. So, yeah, I'm still testing the Shield Arms magazines. Appreciate the comments about that. I heard from some people who have had trouble, still with them, and other people, probably more people, who've had no trouble. So that's a touchy situation when you're going to carry something for defense. So that's something you really want to test thoroughly, right? It's easy to just put something in your firearm and go out and shoot, a magazine or two. Yep, they work, and then that's what you carry for defense. But that's not advisable, is it? Not advisable. So a lot of comments about that. I do want to remind you about buds. I don't know if they have them back in stock, but you can buy them and reserve them or whatever. The hats, we got buds making our hats. Okay, so we got Hickok 45 hats, and not this way, but you can go on their website and find those. And we may move into some other things that they'll help us with and do some gun cases or gun socks or just different things. So stay tuned there. And I mean, they're available, the hats, right now. So people always ask about that kind of thing. We've been bad over the years about even when we were doing it, letting you know about it and that sort of thing. So be aware of that. And can I take a couple more shots with this thing? I thought this week I would possibly really not be out here. This is the only day this week that it appears it's going to be survivable out here, really. So I don't need my ears, do I? Okay, let's take a couple more shots with this. I'm going to pop that turkey if I can. That's a sweet sound. There we go. Got him. Let's hit something with water in it, like this big water jug right here. Boom. That went through it, hit the pig. It's a big, heavy, pointed bullet, and it's not going like at explosive speed. It's like shooting a 45 ACP or something. How about that 2-liter right there? Woo! Pretty neat. Pretty neat. 300 Blackout. That ammo is not always easy to find, I tell you. Really appreciate Federal sending us some of that, and nice stuff. And I'm shooting that through this is old, I've had this a long time, the Knight's Armament, upper, and in 300 Blackout. Got that soon after that cartridge came out. And then a Daniel Defense lower, okay? So it's a pretty nice rig. I'm not sure about the sights, the way that works up there, front sight. It'd be a great one to put a red dot on in a way because of this weird, we're clear, with this weird front sight piece up here. Oh yeah, you're seeing it actually moves up like that. You see it's kind of separate from the rail, which means it's not as stable. It's got a lot of shake and rattle. Even when the sight is actually tight on it, it's got a lot of wobble. So, but for now, leave it on there. It seemed to do okay with it. Yeah. So, what about it? And of course, speaking of Federal, heard about the news about the new cartridge, the 30. Super carry, and that's pretty interesting, and you never know whether that'll really take off or what. I got a box that came in. I didn't shoot it in yet, but I got a box of it. I should have brought one of those over here. Interesting little cartridge. Looks like a kind of a shorter 30 carbine round or something. At first glance, I haven't really studied it that much, but I don't know. There's so many niches. I already talked about this, I guess, didn't I, a week or so ago? There's so many niche cartridges that maybe there's a niche for that. You get a little more capacity, and if a person is satisfied with the defensive capabilities of it, be people probably buy it, like it, and use it. I don't know. There's this big trend, I guess, in a lot of ways towards towards smaller calibers and with effective bullets. You know, I guess we've been seeing for a few decades, perhaps. Used to be the 40. If you didn't have the 45 ECP, you're not armed. You know, that kind of thing. I don't know. And the 40, you know, was great and is a good cartridge. It's like 45, but 9 with the bullet technology is you know, adequate. You know, and even 380. And I think I saw in the video, didn't I think Federal said they were really just trying to come up with a more potent 380 or something with a little better 380, and it turned out it was above their expectations. So some means it was closer to effectiveness of a 9mm, kind of where they felt like it was supposed to be somewhere right there in between, and it ended up a little bit better than they thought. So yeah, truth will come out in terms of everybody experimenting with it and doing ballistics tests and all that. I guess when it comes down to it, it's a bullet. You know, it's a bullet, and as I've said, for defensive purposes, that kind of thing, the human body is not designed to have pieces of copper and lead going into it and holes being made in it. You know, so we in the shooting community will get a little carried away with our opinions, I guess, about which is the better bullet and worst bullet and all that kind of thing. But it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I mean, we can't review it. So they're a sponsor of ours, so I can't review it. Others will, in terms of, is this better than this or better than that or something. Obviously, can't do that with Ballistol or grips or anything else. It would be disingenuous, let's put it that way. That's why we don't take any help from gun companies. How would we review guns? Duh. So, what am I going to shoot? I don't know. Anything else you want to know about? Oh yeah, speaking of guns in the movies, we've got kind of this ongoing topic. I was watching The Searchers with John Wayne. If you haven't seen that, that's a classic movie, good movie. And I didn't remember it, but as usual, there, John Wayne's carrying a Model 1892. There are enough close-ups. It's an 1892 Winchester, and so is someone else. I think all the lever guns look like 1892s that I could see. And Colt single actions in their holsters, lots of ammo on their belt, which automatically puts it into, well, the 92 puts it in the 1890s, right? But the Colt single action, and ammo puts it into somewhere in the 1870s, all right, after 73. And I guess I hadn't noticed that before, but early in the movie, there's a discussion again, that he is, Ethan, John Wayne, has come back from the Civil War, and they make a comment about how the surrender was 3 years ago. Either, what are you doing, or something like that. So, okay, 3 years ago. Guess what? Got my calculator out. That means it's 1868. Pretty smart, aren't I? Don't think there were any Colt single actions or Model 92s in 1868. But again, I think the movies don't care that much. It's not they're that dumb. They're probably, John Wayne knew better. But I don't know. They just, I think back when those movies were made, a lot of them in the 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe in the 70s, people were not as knowledgeable. Weren't as many people as knowledgeable, and people weren't watching these things until VCRs came along. They weren't watching these movies over and over and having access to them anytime they wanted. And as you watch something more than once, you notice things you didn't notice before. So that's something that the movie industry didn't foresee, until the 80s. And that reminds me of another thing in the movies. It happened in a movie I was watching. Was there a movie? No, it was a Rifleman series episode. That is another thing that movies and especially series are guilty of occasionally. And I will tell you about that after a couple more shots. This gun was just asking for attention lying there on the table. All right, I gotta get my ears on for this one. I left my Silencer Central suppressor for this at the house. That's a joke, new people. Boom. Let's see if we can get the gong again. All right. This is one of my favorite rifles. Let's try the Cowboy. That's all, isn't it? Yeah, that's all. So, you know, only gun I ever need, really, just like that. Pretty cool. Yeah, the other thing, you thought I would forget about it, don't you? Because I'm an old guy and I'm senile. You may have noticed this. I think you'll understand what I'm talking about. In this recent episode I saw of the Rifleman, they got tricked by some characters and took him and Mark prisoner, kind of. And they had already demonstrated they tried to kill Micah, the sheriff. They were gonna kill them. That was the plan. They even had Lucas digging a hole, and that's just what was going to happen. And they had Lucas's rifle and everything, so nobody fight back. So he's digging the hole, and all this, and he had some opportunities to charge them or face it, whatever, but they're going to kill him. And it's not as good of an example as some other things I've seen, but they had the whole plot line and the setup is so that at some point near, whatever the end, the star of the show is going to be rescued. Something. So the episodes like to do that. They like to take their leading character, their star, whether it's whoever, Magnum PI or Lucas McCain, you can name them all, anybody in a series who is like one of the stars of the show. Or the star of the show. Now, and sometimes in modern series, some different things, mini-series, you don't know who's going to end up being, killed off that week, right? Makes it interesting. But like in Breaking Bad, anybody could have been killed. Probably Walter, we're going to lose him in time during the show, but you don't know what's going to happen. But in these older series and westerns and things, Matt Dillon is not going to be killed, right? In some episode. And then from then on, the next 5 years, it's Chester as the sheriff or Festa. That's not going to happen, all right? So occasionally what they do, don't they, but they just add to suspense because, why? He's the coolest character, the main character of the show. They put him or her in jeopardy and make it look like this is the end of them. How are they going to get out of this, And that's kind of what that was. That Lucas McCain, if that had been me or you at that point where he was digging a hole, he had a shovel and different things, and he knew they were going to kill him, and he had to be charged. They weren't even very they were observant on him, but they didn't have the gun right on him, aimed at him, and everything. He had to charge him with that shovel and then beat him in the head. And if he got shot, he's going to die anyway. That's the thing. That's the point. And what happens most often is when in these scenarios is the star is Matt Dillon. Maybe someone gets the drop on him in the barn or whatever it is, and they got the gun on him, the handgun, and Dillon, this is the end of you. And maybe there's even two of them, I don't know, but they got a gun on him, and they're up pretty close to him, and then he's caught. They're going to take him and they tie him up, and then and he knows that's probably the end of him. He's probably not going to survive this, but yet because they got the gun on him, that he lets them tie him up, and really he lets them tie him up because that's the way the plot goes, and there's going to be some miraculous rescue at the end that you just can't even imagine, how he's going to be rescued. But Festus comes through the barn or something and rescues him right at the last moment. Oh, good, Matt Dillon's not going to die. Whew, I was worried about that, And so because of what I'm trying to get to, because of the writers and the producers wanting to put an extra element of suspense in an episode now and then and make it look like the hero, the star, the main guy or gal is about to be killed and might be killed, they end up making it a little bit less believable, because Matt Dillon, if I'm Matt Dillon and you're standing there with a pistol on me, and I know you're going to kill me, you're going to take me somewhere and shoot me or whatever you're going to do, then I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to act like, okay, if that's the way it is, I guess I'm over. I guess if this is the end, I guess it's the end, you know. And I would turn, and then you whip around quicker than lightning, and you jump them, you know. I mean, what do you have to lose? They're going to kill you, you know, is what you would really do. And especially the fact that this is Matt Dillon, where it's Lucas McCain, you know. That's what they would do. They're not going to be led somewhere to be killed or be digging their grave or some stupid thing, you know. So they lose a little bit of the authenticity when they do that, at the expense of trying to be suspenseful and make the viewers think that Matt Dillon's going to die this week. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, watch for that. Sometimes it's just ridiculous. It's not just with the star of the show sometimes, but it's more obvious that, you know, because you know he's not going to be killed. Just anybody, if someone's up close to him, you know, someone who studies tactics, of course, would see this right away. You know, if somebody really is going to do me harm, and I know it, and they're very close to me, they're pointing a gun or a knife right up close to me, well, you know, I'm going to take quick action, because you always have that element of action being quicker than reaction, right? So I knew you were worried about that, and if I hadn't explained all that, you'd have just been lost for the rest of your lives, probably. So anyway, what should I shoot next? Can I shoot the revolver some more? You want to get a closer look at that? If you're so new, you've not seen this baby, oh man, these are nice. These are nice. And you know, from the very beginning of doing these videos, it was almost part of the motivation, just to, I guess the motivation was just having some fun, and to, because I'd gone for years and years of people talking about, you know, how little guns are inaccurate and all that kind of thing. And that was one of the things that was fun to do early on, showed the Glock 27 or 26 or guns like this were really shootable and accurate. And if you just work with them a little bit, it's amazing what you can do with them, because there's just a lot of myths out there about firearms like this. And it's just so true. This little piece of steel with no adjustable sights, you just look down the groove, and even in double action only, you know, and it's not because I'm like the greatest shot in the world. A lot of you could do that. It has a nice trigger, and you know, you just lay it right on there, and it's not that different from cocking the hammer. Okay, and I've got the front sight painted. I guess you noticed that, right? To where it's really visible, and it feels great in the hand. Just, it fits like a glove. That's one of the nice things about a revolver like this. They feel like they were meant to be shot. I mean, boom, they really do. So, in fact, this one is meant to be shot some more. So, I'm gonna shoot some more. I tell you, I didn't think I was gonna make it this week. The weather is a bad weather week. All right, let's shoot something here. All right, let's pop something like that cowboy. Just pop several somebodies. As I've said before, just because all you have is a revolver does not mean you're not well armed, okay? So, pretty cool. Pretty cool. What else are you dying to hear about? Oh, have I given the youngsters any advice? I guess I haven't, have I? Thought I had a note about something I was going to blab at them about. Maybe I didn't. Well, yeah, I do. My advice to youngsters is to, and some of you do this, we all need to do it more often. I ran to the post office, grocery, just an hour ago, and I left my phone at the house, and man, you'd have thought I'd left my gun at the house, you know, or I left my wallet. I almost turned around. I was half a mile away. I almost turned around, went back and got it. And I wasn't going to be gone for more than, I don't know, 45 minutes or something. Yeah, we're all just so tied to devices that you know, we're all guilty of it. You know, it's not just young people. But my advice is, young people and all of us, if we could just get away from those things occasionally, it would be really, really good. You know, I, as I have said and observed many times, I do think that say, I don't know about how, when I say young, I don't know, anybody probably under 30 or 40, you know, anybody growing up with the technology. One reason millennials and whoever gets criticized for, oh, I don't know, not being very engaging or hard to talk to or whatever, or don't seem to want to talk, you know, whatever. I think those who are like that, and it's not everybody, of course, duh, it's easy to broad brush, you know, stereotype any group of people, any age of people or whatever. You know, a lot of that with old people, you know, young people, you know, we all have our things we can generalize about, but everybody's not like that just because they're young. But I think a lot of it, of the folks who are, it's just you're constantly, you know the old jokes about being at the same table with somebody and texting them, or in the same room and not even talking to them, just texting, or being on your phone all the time, and really not having a lot of experience engaging people. Part of it comes honest, you know. The thing about our society today, and it has been this way for what, 10, 20 years now, you don't have to engage people. I've observed this before. You don't have to talk to other people. You've got your friends right here in your hand all the time. You know, you got that small circle of friends that you hang out with and talk to, and people, they're in your hand always. So wherever you go, you can kind of ignore other people. You don't need to make new friends. I got my friends, I'm carrying them with me. You know, my virtual friends maybe, or my real friends or whatever. I don't have to talk to other people. I don't have to remember anybody's name, you know. And I grew up differently than that, and that's one reason old guys, you know, get laughed at about maybe because we talk too much. You know, make conversation with the clerk at the grocery. You know, I mean, it's just kind of the way people do, the way they used to do, the way I used to. I mean, you know, it's just courtesy. It's just I don't know. It's just being a human being. You know, how about being a human being and not living only in a virtual world? There's some real people out there, you know. There's the people at the post office. I consider them friends of mine almost. You know, 3, 4 of the ladies that work in there. You know, I know them by name. You know, the hardware store, places I go, I know people by name. You know, and yeah, I don't know if I think that's going away big time. Big time, you know. For one thing, a lot of people change jobs so often that you go to a restaurant, you know, and you can go there a month later and you don't recognize anybody there. You know, that's part of it because everybody's moving around so much. But I don't know. I would advise you to get out there and meet people, talk to people, and you know, put your phone in your pocket occasionally. You know, I think I've mentioned that. If I'm getting my car service or something, I'm waiting, or there's always people, and it's interesting. Some of the best conversations I've had, or interesting conversations I've had, are just with people in waiting rooms or waiting for something. Usually it's car service or something. You know, it's just yeah. And you find out that, you know, people you wouldn't ordinarily talk to, that just really interesting lives, and once they start opening up, very engaging, and you know, just those days are kind of gone, it seems, and we need to revive a lot of that, I think, you know, and take advantage of the virtual world, but then of what it has to offer. But there's a lot of bad things about it, you know, and it's affecting society in some weird ways, you know, massively weird ways, I think, but yeah, there's something to think about. You know, try to engage with human beings occasionally, not just the virtual world. Also, another type of engagement that's really important is engaging targets, and I think I'm going to do that right now. I think I have enough to take a couple of shots here with the put that one back in. I keep jacking them out. There we go. All right. Do I need my ears? I don't think so. Okay, I'm gonna shoot this big old 2-liter staring me right in the face, right here. Boom. Boom. How about that pin down there? Boom. A gong. That's a great sound. How about this guy again? Whoo, got him in a bullseye, right in the middle. Last shot. Such an accurate firearm. It's hard to imagine, isn't it? ARs are fun. They really are. We have a variety of demographics that watch our videos. I know there are some folks that don't care anything about ARs. Most do, but there's some who don't. And as always, I encourage people, enjoy these things and also enjoy those things. Those ARs, they're all fun. AKs are fun. You name it. Shooting is fun if you haven't noticed that. And I have discovered it a long time ago. And, I take advantage of it. I like to do things that are fun. I'm sorry, I have a lot of fun. I've been lucky, in my life, in a lot of ways. Share of valleys and peaks like everybody, but I consider myself fortunate to have been employed for the most of my life doing things that were fruitful, rewarding is what I mean. So not financially, but they were just rewarding for me. I enjoyed them, okay? And the teaching for the most part. I was involved, I haven't talked much about, in the publishing industry and a lot of exciting things through the 80s, a lot of exciting travel. Maybe I'll talk about that sometime. People think I must have been in the CIA or something. I talk about having traveled a lot, but what did you do? And that was exciting, but one of the most rewarding things I did was the teaching. If you've ever done that before, it's just it can be a wonderful endeavor, depending on your situation. And I was in good situations, not perfect, nothing is, but it was really great. And I like I've said, I missed doing it. I missed the kids. They were a lot of fun. I wouldn't go back and do it, but it was a lot of fun doing it, and really rewarding. And then this, mostly because of you all, I'm able to do this for a living, a good living. And as I've said many times, we can do kind of what we want and bring it to you all, bring out guns, whatever, and enjoy doing that. And so I've been able to be a kind of a big kid much of my life, because in teaching, I think that might be one reason I enjoyed it, because I taught in middle school most of the time and some high school, but I've always been kind of a big kid, and I was just another big kid. I was in charge, but I was just another big kid, and plus I was a little bit of a character when I was in school, and so I understood that. I didn't. You've always had those teachers, and I'm sure I was impatient at times, because it's easy to be impatient when you got 15, 20, 30 people after you, and questions at the same time, or you need them to do something and you're not cooperating always, or something. It's easy to get impatient, very easy. But I had pretty good patience, because I was a bit of a character when I was in middle school and high school. And so what am I going to do? Be a hypocrite and act like Johnny or Billy over there is just not with the program. Everybody should be totally 100% with the program, because I wasn't always with the program. So I had an understanding of that and an appreciation of it, even though Johnny was going to get with the program, he's going to be in my class. So there's that side of it too. Okay, I understood it, but sorry. I'm glad I didn't have a teacher like me when I was in middle school that made me behave better. But anyway, I enjoyed that a lot, teaching, and still miss it, sometimes, especially when I see kids the ages that I taught, wherever they are, the relatives, or it could be at the grocery or something, and I see those kids, I can pin their ages. I can tell if they're a 7th grader or a 6th grader or a 9th grader. I can get that almost every time, And as I joke with people, I taught middle school for more than 25 years, and so when I run to people with their kids, and if they're like middle school age, I scare them. I say, you do realize I taught people like you, little humans like you, for 25 years. I know what you're thinking right now. I have so much experience, so many days, hours, months, years with people like you, that I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking before you even say it. I know what you're going to say before you even say it. So there's some truth to that, you know. But yeah, I kind of miss that. But this is fun. This is fun. Taking firearms like this and blasting, okay, and then sharing it with you all. So I appreciate that. And again, you guys are very much responsible for that. You know, I mean, it just is kind of weird the way things work out, but I enjoy it and have enjoyed it. Don't plan to quit, you know, but I enjoy it. So I will be here next week. Well, I may not be here if the weather's really horrible, but I'll be in the barn, okay? And I will post something. Let's shoot this guy again. That's one advantage of paper. You know, steel you can't get too close to if you're shooting steel. You can shoot bowling pins from almost any distance, I guess. But one advantage of paper, you can walk right up on it if you want to. You can blast it, you know. And generally in training classes, and I know in police qualifications, all that sort of thing, you're shooting, you know, mostly paper, and you know, some of it you're doing like right up on it, that sort of thing. And really in defensive situations, it's going to be, you know, arm's length probably and that kind of thing. And so that's good to get in the habit of shooting at that distance and, you know, protect yourself, shoot the shot, and all that. So I don't shoot much paper, but it's fun. I should shoot more. I should shoot more, right? That's pretty much the case anyway. So anything else that I forgot to tell you? Come on, let me know. Let me know. Anything else I was going to mention? Well, I'm glad getting into, not politics, but in the ways of the world. I'm glad that there's a lot of pushback and a lot of crazy stuff that's going on, and a lot of people are not happy with mandates of any kind, you know, around the planet. And that's what dictators like to do, mandate. They are experts at mandating, right? They really are. It's the totalitarian way. And when you think about it, I just am surprised that the loonies of the world go along with any kind of mandate, because isn't that a kind of a sexist thing? It just occurred to me. Yeah, mandate. Yeah, I should be a comedian, right? Uh-oh, they're coming after me now. They probably got one of those, what they call it, a straight jacket. Yeah, straight jacket that they'll put on me before they put me in the ambulance, because I need it. So I guess I'll let you go. I'm getting really rambling, worse than ever. I feel like I'm rambling. Why do I feel that way? Maybe it's cold and I'm rambling, and I'm sorry. I apologize. But appreciate your all support. Fun to bring out some firearms that I enjoy shooting, share them with you. And is that a fire engine or an ambulance? Yeah, it's an ambulance. Okay. Yeah. He's not going to pick up my cat. Okay. So anyway, somebody's having a bad day. Yeah. The ambulance is always a reminder that there's somebody is not having a good day. It could be having a really, really bad day, and it could be anybody. It could be you, it could be me tomorrow. You just don't know. That screaming truck-like thing with the lights flashing, it, you know, could be your last ride, my last ride. You know, just it could be. It's always a stark reminder that we're pretty lucky. You know, I'm out here shooting, enjoying a couple of favorite firearms. You know, talking with my favorite people, and somebody's going to be putting that ambulance, you know, probably up the road here a little way. So it's always just a good thing to keep in mind. And you know, we're just here for a little while, and as I have said before, need to do the right thing and take care of ourselves, take care of people, and not be a schmuck. You know, there's plenty of those around. Don't be a troll. Don't be a hater. Some people live to hate. You know, wow, where that comes from. Bad parenting generally, I guess, but they're always going to be there. They're always going to be there. There's one in every family. Yeah, remember that. You know that. You could name the one in your family right now. Okay, right? That's probably a troll hater on the internet when you're not around him, her. Usually it's a him, right? It's always us guys that are messed up in the brain. I don't know why that is. I'm perfectly normal, perfectly sane. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna shut up and let you go, and hope you catch the videos. You've been catching the videos, and you catch what we post this next week. Might be something interesting. You never know. I might go back and watch that bolt action rifle video again myself. You know, there are some videos like that. As hard as it is to watch your own videos, videos like that where I have a lot of my very favorite firearms out, I can watch those. If I can just get the guy to shut up that's talking in the video, but just, man, seeing those things, the close-ups and the clarity, and seeing them all without having to go dig them all out of various safes and places, you know, to look at them. There they are. It's kind of neat to see those. It's really true for just a couple of guns. If it's like a USGI 1911 or something, or a Colt single action, a couple of them out, and I get myself caught up occasionally watching for a couple of minutes if I bounce onto one of those videos and, oh man, there's one of my favorite, Colt single actions. Yeah, I'll just see the close up of it. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just sick. I'm a gun nut. What can I say? Anyway, I'm glad you sick people came out to watch, and I'll catch you next week from either out here or from the barn. Life is good.